So the few things that I want to take away from this week, going into next week, are, let's think about the main themes of this play. Number one is sort of freedom, right? What kind of freedom do we have? Can we move? Can we stand? Can we see? Can we speak? And what do we do with that? From a very existential point of view, our use of what we have, right, is a fundamental question of existentialism. What have you done with what you've had? Sartre would look immediately at these people, I believe, right, and sort of think about the fact that if Ham talks about what could have been, if Clove talks about what could have been, if Nag and Nell are reminiscing about the past life, this is pointless, right? You are what you are, and you are what you are when you are that thing. You have had a life to build upon, and if you haven't done the things that you wish you had done, that is your fault and your fault alone, right? Pretty negative, right? But I think an existential view of this play really does say, when we look at these people and when we wonder about what they could have been, that's the wrong track to be taking, right? When we look at the responsibility that they've had in their own lives and how they've gotten to where they are, well, clearly they have done some things that have put them in this room while the world is ending. And we can't blame the world ending for where we've ended up. We can't blame the relationship we had with our, parents for where we've ended up. That Ham is where he is because this is where he is, right? If he lost his sight, okay, maybe that is not his fault, but now this is where he is. He has that to deal with. So what do we do with what we've got, right? What is our responsibility? Our second sort of major idea here is who sees us and what do we do with that interpretation, right? Are we seen? Are we observed? Are we looked at? Are we known? And what are we going to do with that idea, right? Vision is very important for Beckett. Beckett constantly talks about vision and about who sees him. He talks about people's eyes. He talks about people having their eyes on other people. He talks about blindness and sightedness, right? And I think it's a really important theme for him, this idea of both vision, perception, and ability to be seen and be perceived. What does that mean in this particular play? I think that's also very important. And the last thing I'd like us to think about going into, next week is also the concept of the absurd as Camus talks about it, right? The theater of the absurd, right, is all about bringing these ideas of existentialism, absurdism, the absurdity of living, the difficulty of life, into a play setting and showing people sort of what it feels like, right, to have this anxiety of existing, right, of the difference between what we're hoping for and what we get. But the idea that Camus presents us with is despair, absurd heroes, right? What does it mean to be a person confronted with the disappointment of life? How are these characters dealing with the disappointment of life? And what is their status, right? Are they absurd heroes? I don't think we can think of any of these people as absurd heroes, certainly not right now. But how are they showing this difference between what's expected and what we get, right? Ham talking about his narrative, the time when he was powerful, when he was big, when he was, right, when he had everything, to where he is now. Did he ever have everything? Is this simply a story that he's told himself and hopes to believe? Or is he actually somebody who had something and then lost most of it, right? What is Clove? What does he do? Who is he? Why has he given up some of this power? is his position in the household that of a dutiful servant, a dutiful person who used to, have a great deal of affection for the person he worked for, or that maybe was a father figure for him? Or is he simply too weak to do anything, right? I think that the way that we react to thinking about these questions also is telling us a little bit about how we see both the play, but also maybe how we feel a little bit about ourselves, right? I don't want you to sort of look at this play and suddenly say, oh no, my life, it's terrible, right? That's not the point. I really don't want that to be the case. But, we do, I think, feel about this play sometimes sort of the way that we feel about maybe where we are. We may reflect upon, right, successes and difficulties that we've had in our lives, right? Certainly do not interpret this play as, well, this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life, right? Like, if it makes you feel a certain way, explore it, sure, but this is not a psychoanalysis, right, course. We're not trying to analyze people and say, oh, see, we've solved your problems with theater. If only that were the case, right? It would be nice. But whatever you're feeling about this play, I think it is interesting to look into it and see how you feel, right? But also then to be able to cut that, off, and to say, when we analyze it from the perspective of existentialism, absurdism, as we are in this class, looking at it academically, we also can make those interpretations as well. So, this is the last planned video I have for this week. If there is anything that comes after this, it will be an explanation of art projects, but I am considering pushing those back a little bit. There will likely be a little bit of an explanation of what we're doing with our final projects as well. So stay tuned. All right, talk to you soon.